So Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by 2-0 David Alaverdian. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Thanks
Glad
for
to
having
hear
me.
it. As this is the first time we've spoken to you for Seconds Out, I think it'd be good to start from the very start. You grew up, of course, in Israel, and ultimately, just tell us about the path that led from growing up there into boxing. Ultimately, at the end.
I'll be honest, the life in Israel is not too bad. It's nice. Uh, of course, there's these parts where times that there was war, like the Second Lebanon War. I was probably only 12 by then. I don't remember. 2016, 2006. It was. It was pretty intense, but I don't remember being scared or anything. It just you hear the rockets, you hear the everything. But when there was ceasefire, me and a friend we just went on our bicycles and just checked where the bombs fell, which was pretty funny. I remember it now. But other than that, life is pretty calm. It's nice. It's not as dangerous as people really think it is. And yeah, it's not too bad. But boxing over there, there's not much boxing there. It's definitely not like England. No way.
So, how did you get into it, with it not being particularly popular?
So my coach, my amateur coach, he was a good friend of my father, and yeah, my dad kind of forced me into it because I was the smaller one in the family, and he was afraid that I'm gonna get bullied. So I was like, okay, you have to go. Okay.
How old were you then?
I think I was 8, maybe 8.
And you were obviously very good at it from an early age because the majority of your amateur career was spent in international competition. Was it a case of as soon as you started at the boxing gym, you knew that you had a talent for it, or did it take a lot longer before and a lot of hard work and repetition?
I had talent. I could tell the coach could tell straight away because I was not afraid to get hit. Some kids they come, they don't like it being punched, and I was trying to give it back, even though I wouldn't have much success. I was just trying to fight back. But uh, yeah, it probably I had talent, but all of my experience came from the age of 18 and above because I was quitting a lot. I was not doing it for because I loved it. I was forced to, so I quit. My dad was working a lot, so he didn't know when I quit, when I didn't. So I quit, come back, and I did it for a long time. So I had no amateur experience during my youth years at all.
So what changed in terms of doing boxing for yourself rather than doing it for your dad? Because at some point you're a boxer now, so that must have changed.
Yeah, just before my military service, I saw a friend of mine who was boxing at the time. He went to the Klitschko tournament, the youth one, and I saw like he got a bronze over there, and I was like, "Wow, it's so cool that you can just travel internationally and do boxing." And I said, like, I'm just gonna give it a try, and I came back, and the rest is history.
And you mentioned there your military service. Just tell us a little bit about that experience, how long it was, and what you did for the majority of the time.
It's 3 years. My service, I was an athlete, so I have a lot of perks. I come in for a few hours, then I go back home. So I didn't stay at the base most of the time. I didn't stay sleeping in the base. Just regular stuff. I worked in the storage room, so people come in, they need certain things, I give it to them. And once in a while, they send me to different outposts in some shitty places to stay over there and watch over some place.
And as you've said, boxing wasn't a hugely popular sport in Israel. There's also not a great deal, especially in the modern era, of Jewish boxers who've risen to prominence. So, who were your kind of role models? Who were the boxers you looked up to?
Probably the same ones that everybody liked.
Yeah.
The Muhammad Ali's, the Mike Tyson's, Roy Jones, all these legends. And when I came back, I remember I started watching amateur boxing. So I remember seeing Vasily Lomachenko, and I was stunned. When I watched him, I was like, wow. I think it was 2011. I think in the World Championships, and I was amazed. I was like, wow, this guy.
What were the kind of highlights of your own amateur career? What tournaments did you win, and what do you know your amateur record?
I don't really remember the record, but I have around 80, 90 fights, 20 something losses, 28 maybe, 29.
And
But
which tournaments were you in, and where did you have your best form?
so in 2012, the first European Championships until the age of 22, I got bronze over there, which was, I remember that experience was great. But overall, just in amateur, I had medals in many big tournaments like Stranja, Boskai, and all the other ones. But my experience with amateur boxing is very negative. I can't stand the amateur boxing. They're so corrupt. All of them is corrupt from its core. The judges, they come, you see drunk judges over there. They will sell their entire careers for a bottle of vodka. They, if they're being told to you have to give this guy or that guy the victory, they're gonna do it. So when you represent a country that's more like Israel, they're not gonna care about robbing you. So you just think to yourself, why do I train so hard just because some asshole is being told to just give the decision to your opponent? So it was really annoying at that time. I remember just very frustrating.
Why did you not decide to turn professional earlier than you did, as you didn't have a lot of love for the amateur side of the sport?
Well, there's no professional boxing in Israel, so I didn't have the opportunity really. So obviously, when I did get the opportunity and come here to basically the capital of boxing, to Vegas, jumped straight on it.
How did that come about, that opportunity?
Um, Probably luck, really. Yeah. My manager now, he's a great guy. He helped our team come here, train here for a little bit, show us around, and he's a friend with a friend of a friend, I would say. And he sorted it all out for me. He told me before, when you decide to come to become professional, let me know. We'll sort you out. And he's been great.
And tell us about who you train with now and where you train.
I'm training all over Vegas. I don't stay in one gym. I just get sparring all over the place, which is great because I get to spar everybody. And now people my way, everybody knows me, so we get calls all the time like, oh, we need sparring here, sparring there. Kazuto Yoka was coming here before, and they called me for two sparring camps.
Wow.
He's not his last fight because of COVID, so he wasn't training here, but the other two, and I was his main sparring partner, which is good experience.
Well,
So I
yeah.
got a lot of good sparring here.
Um, who's your head trainer?
It's Paul Richards. He's from London actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he trained our teams from 2017. So he came from London, trained there, and then we basically moved here together.
And you mentioned Kazuto Ioka, obviously a very well-known name to boxing fans. Tell us some other kind of notable names that you've sparred that we'd know about.
Oh man, gotta think. It's I sparred the two-time Olympic champion Robert Ramirez.
Wow.
Obviously, it was not full power you know he's way bigger, but we did a lot of technical work. I sparred Nayam Bayar, the Olympic silver medalist who lost to Robesi. Sparred him. He's a great guy, very humble. Who else? I gotta think, but I had a lot of good sparring here.
Wow. I mean, Ramirez, just Ramirez on his. I mean, Ioka from a professional standpoint, and then Ramirez from the amateur standpoint. For someone who's only starting out his professional career, that's pretty cool.
It's great work here. After coming from Israel, the sparring that they have over there, and you come here, you're like of the different world. But obviously, I had a lot of training camps internationally, but it's still not the same. In America, they just don't care. Every sparring is hard sparring and try to take the head off of your opponent. No friends here.
How are you settling into the Las Vegas lifestyle as well? Because you're obviously doing very well in sparring and training, but what about outside of the gym?
I don't party. I don't gamble. I don't drink. I am a boring person, man. I
What do you
don't like
do in Vegas? If you
don't
don't
like
party,
wasting.
drink, or gamble, what is there to do in Vegas?
I train, I cook, and I sleep. That's what I do, and I still playing computer games.
Fair enough. That's good stuff. What's your plan going forward, say for the rest of this year, 2021? Now the pandemic hopefully seems to be easing off. Do you see yourself having how many fights this year, and how would you like to progress?
So since I'm still fighting 4 rounders, and I'm just beginning of the career, I would try. I would hope to fight very often. Hopefully, my next fight is gonna be on April, early April, and we'll probably go back to Israel for a short while, then come back here and try to get fight at least once every 2 months at least. Then from next year, try to have some serious fights.
Are there any particular fighters out there? I know again it's very early on in your career, but maybe fellow prospects around your weight that you'd be interested in meeting down the line?
I spoke about it before as well, but it's I want to fight Sonny Edwards. This is somebody I want to fight.
It's very strange to hear people say that because Sonny often says that he's avoided, and he has certainly struggled to get fights. Why are you targeting Sonny Edwards?
I just don't like him. That's the only reason, really.
What what don't you like about him, or how are you even aware of him? Because you're out in Vegas. Have you managed to see a lot of his fights over there?
I'm a big boxing fan. I watch almost all boxing fights, and I just follow him on Instagram. I see the way he conducts himself. I'm like, this is just man. He's a complete idiot. I'm surprised how somebody like him, and he has a brother, and it's completely two different people. One is a humble, nice guy, and the other one is a fucking idiot.
Have you ever met him, or this is just from what you've seen on social
No,
media and so on?
only social media. That's it.
And
Never met him.
do you think that's a realistic fight down the line? Obviously, at this stage, he's a few steps ahead in the professional journey.
Yeah, obviously not now. I need to build my record up when it's worth for him to have a fight with me. Because obviously now there's no point for him. It's just high risk, low reward. But once I build my record up, we'll talk.
Well, it's refreshing to hear someone calling him out because we don't hear that very often.
Well, I'm pretty sure this fight will happen. Uh, hopefully next year. I hope so.
Good stuff. Now, before we let you go, just tell all the fans out there how they can find you on the different social media platforms so they can follow you a bit more closely.
So on Instagram, it's David underscore Alaverdian. And that's basically all I use.
Good stuff. Really appreciate your time. I look forward to following your career as it goes on, and maybe we can catch up again later in the year.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Take care and speak to you soon.